Hi, I'm Mr. Wavvy, and we're here with Donnie Trumpet.
What's up, Wavy, wavy, surf.
Woo, woo! Oh, yeah, I didn't even think that's the perfect fucking combo. The first thing I wanted to ask you is, why the trumpet as a form of musical expression?
Well, the trumpet wasn't my first instrument. I started playing drums and Latin percussion when I was really young, and then I moved schools to a middle school, and I wanted to keep playing drums, but there was too many drummers, so I said, okay, I'll play saxophone, and then they said, well, it's too many saxophonists, so I said, okay, I'll play the trumpet, and then I heard Miles Davis for the first time the same night, and in a silent way, and I kind of just started devoting myself to finding that sound, and the trumpet just stuck. I don't know, of all the instruments, like I dabble in piano and drums still, and I produce and stuff, but the trumpet still feels like the most organic to me, like the most free, direct expression from my brain, through my body out, Yeah.
In terms of expression, how do you think, what are the benefits of playing the trumpet as opposed to necessarily like rapping or singing?
I mean, well, everything's different. Everything has its pluses and minuses. Everything has its little idiosyncrasies that make it unique. The trumpet, is very breath oriented. It has a lot to do with breathing and air and how you use your air. So you kind of start thinking about breathing differently, and it has a lot to do with your face and your mouth, and you can get really specific with types of sounds with the trumpet. It's very it's really just a tube. It's just a metal tube, and so it really reacts to what you give it. It's really just like a microphone. It's just like helping the full body process, kind of. So it just feels really connected. You feel like really involved with it,
It's interesting. Let's talk surf. If you had one word to describe it, the waviest album of the year, what would it be?
Ooh, one word to describe it.
I might have just said it.
Yeah, wavy as fuck. One word. I guess you could say collaboration is an easy one-word description. Jazz is a good one-word description. Not because it sounds like jazz music, but because of the idea of jazz and the collaborative effort that is involved with making jazz. And so I guess either collaboration or just wavy as fuck.
For sure. And looking back at it, it's been out since May. Is there anything you would have done differently, doing the album over again, or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm super happy with how everything went down, how who was involved with the project.
No, that's one thing I was going to ask. Like, any features you would have liked to get that didn't quite make the cut, or would have liked to
have? There were other features. That's as much as I can say about that.
You sure? That's as much as you can?
Yeah, that's pretty much as much as I can say about that. I do think that there's going to be opportunity for other features, surf-related features still that were either recorded previously, before releasing Surf, or that people want to do remixes, and we have ideas for different people for different songs already that we've been throwing around. So I think it could happen at any moment, but that's kind of a big reason why, not having all the names in a row on the artist list was like so important for us. Is like going forward, we can still hit you with a surprise. Like we can still, somebody else could come out with a verse, or we could preview like a verse that it was unheard, and that can still be powerful. Like you don't just associate that one song with that one artist, it's like you just think about Surf as the collective. So it leaves opportunity. It leaves room for opportunity.
No, I think that whole element of surprise was so essential with the album's kind of release and process, because between the fact that you guys announced it so shortly, I mean, I guess it kind of surprise drop, but announced it so shortly before it did drop, and leaving all the features out was just such a unique kind of way to
I kind of just wanted to put everything like on the same playing field, you know, and everything being the whole musical experience, not just every artist who's featured on that song and that, you know, that one Quavo song is, oh, that's your favorite song because Quavo's on it, or that Busta Rhymes song. Like it's really not that, you know. It's really like that song that has these different vocalists on it, and sometimes people didn't even know. Sometimes, to be honest, people still don't really know who's on every song. I mean, people still think that different people are in different places on the record, you know. But I think that that's tight. Like, I think watching a movie is kind of like that, or like reading your favorite book again is kind of like that, where it's like you learn something new every single time. And I mean, the blogs went crazy, like trying to write down every single thing that was involved, every single person who wrote on every song, and they weren't right. Like, they weren't all the way right, and I didn't necessarily correct them in the same day either. It was kind of like part of the whole idea of surf is like, just let people listen and have to think about the music they're listening to.
Yeah, I think that's part of it also with not having the features. It's like Chance was saying in the talk you did at Concordia today, because you didn't have the features listed, it wouldn't make for people to go back again and kind of, you know, really study the album to see who's on every song, because you're not going to necessarily know who's on, you know, you can say the J. Cole joint, or you can say the name of the song.
And it's interesting too, for me, looking back on it, thinking, well, what song would be different had I included the person's name who's featured? So the best example I can give is Rememory is largely like one of the lowest played songs on the whole album, but that's the song that features the Queen, Miss Erykah Badu, and it's an incredible song to me, just purely from a vocalist standpoint, thinking just about what Chance and Erykah both contributed. I think it's incredible to listen to and study, and it's really been overlooked, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Like, I think it has almost like a quarter or a fifth or a sixth of the plays that Miracle has, and it's really just because of where it is in the album and that I didn't put featuring Erykah Badu.
But I think the core fans really do like it, though. I think the core fans know that that's such an important influence to your guys' music.
Definitely. I mean, you know, not to say that it's for them or it's for anybody in particular. It was really just us, you know. But we were thinking about how people were going to receive stuff like that, and whether or not we would put featuring J. Cole, or if that's even true to the song. Like the way Erykah was explaining Rememory, you know, when she first heard it and they were first recording this song together, she was saying it sounded like a trumpet song, and it does. A lot of parts of it, not just because the trumpet is on there, but it's where they're placed and how they're playing throughout the song, and how they still happen during verses, how they happen during the choruses. So she had that idea in her mind, and she put her vocals on top of it, and it just reshaped things, and we just kept molding things to different people. So the whole collaborative effort of it, you know, was really key for us.
Yeah, and you know, you touched obviously about it just now, but I wanted to see if you can go a bit more into the whole songwriting process. I mean, obviously, a big factor to people listening to this album is, you know, going to be Chance's involvement. You know, in as much as it wasn't necessarily his first solo album, what type of decisions did you have to make together in order to get this as a packaged album that you guys can both present? Yeah. You know.
Well, that's a good question. The project was made over a fairly long period of time, but it really took shape in a really short amount of time. So, comparatively. So, we had been working on some of these songs for a really long time, when other things would pop up and we would want to change things, or maybe we would just keep the rough one, demo 01, or maybe we would go back and change a million things, and we'd have sessions with thousands and thousands of voices that we couldn't even open at a lot of studios, and we had these particular plugins that we couldn't open. So it was like, it was a real struggle for like a small period of time, but then like this long overarching kind of vision of it was always the same. It was always like, let's put out this music for free, and let's make music with a bunch of different people from a lot of different places, you know, and putting them in the same song sometimes even, you know. I don't know if I really answered your question.
No, I think that's, you know, that's a kind of an open answered question. You know, there's a lot of different answers you could give. You know, and conceptually about the songs, how were those decisions made, not only for the songs themselves, but the concept of the overall album?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all learned a lot about ego and finding what's most important about the song and kind of staying true to it. Whereas like certain songs, like I said, you know, we would all be in the room like throwing idea after idea around, like getting a million ideas on one song, and then like it would change in all these different directions. And then certain songs I would just be like, no, that's done, you know. So some of the things it was kind of like, all right, well, I have a vision for this project already, and here's how I see this piece fitting. And then certain things it was like, hey, what do you guys think of this piece? Do you think it fits anywhere? Like, do you think you could add anything that would help it fit somewhere? So sometimes it was, you know, really random, like just throwing ideas out that Chance would hear. Like I remember I had played him the rough of Sunday Candy like months and months before he recorded anything, and he just had totally forgotten about it. And then he would like heard it randomly in the studio and was like, damn, what is this?
Calling this song
Like we could go crazy with this. And you know, I think that's how songs really, that's how they happen. And then you got to figure out like, okay, well, what's the core of that song? What's really necessary? Does this part really need horns? Does this part really need all these keys? Does this part really need drums? You know, just like, does this part need vocals? There was a lot of sections of songs where we were thinking like, just no vocals here, like, or using vocals like on Windows, using them mostly as backgrounds, but like shifting between them being
what's most effective
and leads, where like your focus is constantly shifting between these different elements, but then there's this like moving thing under it, you know, that you can latch onto and sing with. And I just think finding those elements of what really make it interesting enough, because nothing's ever done, and that's an important lesson in making music that we definitely had to conquer in the making of Surf. We could be still working on Surf right now. I could work on those songs forever, and there just has to be a certain point where they're not done, but they're just in an interesting place.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes perfection could be, you know, to the point of flaw that it, you know, I mean, look at people we've seen albums from in the past year, D'Angelo, Dr. Dre. You know, we should have seen those albums a lot sooner. It just shows like how sometimes perfection isn't necessarily the essential great thing.
Yeah, and also it just reminds you of how much music was made that you never heard or never even knew existed, because there's tons of music. There was a Surf folder that was probably 250, 300 songs long. So at the end of the day, it just like what fits best in this overarching idea, and also what's really the core of this, what's really the groove, what's really the thing that makes you want to listen to it and makes you hit play again. Is it that crazy vocal? Is it that crazy drum break? Is it that one line that sticks in your head? So just trying to identify the different parts of the songs, you know, and different elements that we would all add that really made it a complete thing, that made them all tie together, you know, over this long period of time, and all these different people. It was still my original concept and idea of these different pieces coming together and telling a story, and I think we achieved that.
Sure. That's a great answer, man. You know, and on the topic of further releases, what do you have planned for the future? Is there a Donnie Trumpet solo project that's on the horizon? Or?
Definitely going to be another Donnie Trumpet project.
I think before the end of the year? Or?
Probably not. I don't really know. There's tons of music in all of our iTunes, kind of just like waiting to be freed. But you never know like when you're really going to feel exactly like, oh, this is the time. I'm working on my album, or now I'm ready to just do a bunch of features, or now I'm ready to just make a bunch of music. And you know, I think like the whole Surf thing was such a big moment. We were all just kind of like we're like decompressing still almost, you know, where it's like I still don't feel like we've given those songs the life that they deserve. So I think we're still going to be pushing that, and I'm going to definitely be playing a lot more shows in the next couple months, and you know, possibly putting together a longer tour, and just making music. There's tons of music already that is begging to be freed, and then there's stuff that's just around the corner, you know, that we're about to drop and that we have plans for already. So I'm not sure. Donnie Trumpet is doing some features right now, you know what I'm saying?
Killing the game.
Working on a longer body, you know, more another big body of work, but right now definitely just making music, decompressing still, pushing all these songs, like playing some of these songs live and seeing the reactions is amazing. So I'm just excited to put the music in front of people and keep building.
All right, let's talk a bit about the Chance solo album also. You know, how would you say that sound-wise it differentiates itself from Surf?
Well, I came in with a lot of ideas for Surf already, and was building the sound largely around my own ideas and my own direction, and of course taking influence from everybody around me and every all the music that I love and listen to. But I think this is his album. This is going to be his own direction, his own ideas, and we're all going to be in the room making things happen, and just keep pushing for the next big thing, the next big moment,
With that, it's and Pat's giving me this. Would it be a 2016 release or?
Oh, I have no idea. It could be tomorrow.
Ship up. That's a little friend. So, last question, Donnie. What is the meaning of life?
Whoa. What is the meaning of life? I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I guess Monty Python is the easy answer. The meaning of life is love. Easy answer.
That's great.
That's it.
Donnie?
That's what it's all for.
Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you, man.
I'm Mr. Wavvy.
Peace.
We're out.